While the world focuses on hyper-advanced stealth frigates, the Royal Netherlands Navy is facing a silent catastrophe in the North Sea. The defense of Dutch maritime sovereignty now hangs by a fragile, rusted thread. In May 2026, the Dutch Defense Project Overview, known as the DPO, confirmed a devastating blow. The replacement Anti Submarine Warfare Frigates, originally scheduled to deploy by 2029, are delayed until at least 2033 due to severe integration and supply chain bottlenecks. This massive 4-year security vacuum leaves the Netherlands vulnerable, defenseless, and completely exposed to highly advanced Russian YasenM class submarines patrolling the North Sea. On paper, their only tactical salvation would be the 30-year-old Karel Doorman class M frigates. Leading global defense analysts argue that forcing these aging vessels to fight past 2029 is a high-stakes gamble. Of the 2 remaining Dutch ships, HNLMS Van Speijk F828 has been inactive since late 2021 due to critical crew shortages, leaving only HNLMS Van Amstel F831 to bear the entire burden. To prevent total tactical irrelevance, naval engineers at Den Helder rushed HNLMS Van Speijk into Dry Dock 6 in February 2026 for an emergency service life extension. But can a Cold War relic designed in the 1980s, carrying obsolete RIM7 Sea Sparrow missiles and an analog combat system, survive the lethal threat of modern hypersonic and drone warfare in 2029? Before we go on, you think older warships can still stand a chance in modern naval combat, or are they just sitting ducks? Subscribe to the channel to track this ongoing naval crisis, and tell me where you are watching from. To understand why the Karel Doorman class is facing such a grim reality, we must dissect the severe physical limitations of this 30-year-old platform. On paper, the heart of these vessels is a combined diesel or gas propulsion system, featuring 2 Rolls-Royce Spey gas turbines and 2 Stork Wärtsilä diesel engines. While this setup once allowed the ships to surge at 29 knots to hunt Soviet submarines, decades of high-tempo operations have caused severe metal fatigue throughout the hull and machinery. Defense analysts point out that maintaining these legacy turbines has become a logistical nightmare, with operational costs skyrocketing by over 40% in recent years, as spare parts are no longer in active production. The tactical vulnerability becomes even more alarming when looking at the ship defense systems. The primary air defense relies on 16 Mark 48 vertical launching cells, carrying the RIM7 Sea Sparrow missile. Developed during the Cold War, this missile relies on obsolete analog semi-active radar homing. Real-world combat operations in the Red Sea throughout 2024 and 2025 have proved that legacy systems of this generation are almost entirely useless against low-cost loitering munitions, drone swarms, and high-speed anti-ship cruise missiles. Without modern active electronically scanned array radars, the Karel Doorman class remains dangerously exposed in a modern high-threat environment. Even the last line of defense is failing. The legendary Goalkeeper close-in weapon system, which fires GAU 830mm ammunition at a rate of 4,200 rounds per minute, is dying. The original manufacturer ceased supporting the system years ago. Today, the Royal Netherlands Navy is forced to scavenge parts from decommissioned vessels just to keep a single Goalkeeper operational on HNLMS Van Amstel. This is not sustainable maintenance. It is a desperate act of survival. Beyond the physical decay of the hulls and weapon systems, the survival of the Karel Doorman class is deeply entangled in a high-stakes geopolitical chess game. For decades, the Royal Netherlands Navy positioned itself as a core player in European maritime defense. Yet, the current reality of the M frigates is forcing a drastic contraction of Dutch naval ambitions. The primary driver of this crisis is a chronic, systemic personnel shortage that has crippled the fleet for years. It was this exact labor crisis that forced HNLMS Van Speijk F828 to be placed in an inactive status in late 2021. Crewing these intensive legacy platforms requires over 150 highly trained sailors per ship, a human resource pool the Dutch military simply cannot recruit or retain in the current competitive market. This internal exhaustion has triggered immediate, painful strategic sacrifices. To keep the sister ship, HNLMS Van Amstel F831, operational on the front lines, the Netherlands has been forced to cannibalize its global commitments. In late 2025, HNLMS Van Amstel proudly served as the flagship for standing NATO Maritime Group 1, patrolling the critical choke points of the Baltic Sea to deter Russian subsurface activity. But to maintain this single presence at the core of NATO territory, Dutch planners had to make a silent, devastating retreat. The Netherlands has been forced to indefinitely suspend its plans to deploy modern frigates for freedom of navigation operations in the Indo Pacific, alongside the United States and Australia. When the homeland security vacuum in the North Sea is this severe, projection of power in Asia becomes an unaffordable luxury. As the Royal Netherlands Navy coops up its remaining assets to defend its own backyard, the strategic ripple effects are felt globally, reducing European naval contribution to the Allied containment strategy in the Pacific. In the high-stakes realm of naval diplomacy, the aging Karel Doorman class is no longer just a technical burden. It is a geopolitical anchor holding a historic maritime nation back from the world stage. Ultimately, the story of the Karel Doorman class is a sobering warning for the future of European defense. It exposes a dangerous trend of technological complacency. Western militaries have spent years planning futuristic, high-tech fleets on paper, while neglecting the critical maintenance and crewing of the physical warships they actually possess today. For the Royal Netherlands Navy, the cost of this complacency is now painfully clear. By allowing the replacement Anti Submarine Warfare Frigate program to slip past the 2029 deadline toward 2033, planners have forced two ancient warships to carry a defense burden they were never meant to sustain in the modern age. Over the next 12 months, the strategic reality will be brutal. While the emergency overhaul of HNLMS Van Speijk F828 in Dry Dock 6 will likely push the hull back into active service, it remains a temporary fix. Naval engineers can repair the rusted metal, but they cannot magically install the active electronically scanned array radars or the advanced missile systems required to survive a modern swarm attack. The Netherlands is spending millions of euros just to keep 30-year-old systems afloat, draining precious funds that could otherwise speed up the construction of modern replacements. This leaves the nation in a dangerous holding pattern. These Cold War veterans must remain on the front lines of the North Sea, operating at the absolute limit of their physical endurance. The Karel Doorman class has become the ultimate symbol of a modern navy caught between a dangerous present and an unready future. It is a stark reminder that in naval warfare, promises of tomorrow cannot protect the sea lanes of today. Would you risk sending these aging warships into a high-intensity conflict? Or is it time for NATO to rethink its defense timeline entirely?